Comfortable seat to get started. You can rest your hands in your lap, and you are welcome to close your eyes if you like. And you can kind of rein your senses back in, right? So the senses are coming back home, and they can be used during your practice for the sixth sense, which is called interoception, as I like to talk about it that way. So you can have a felt sense of yourself on the inside. So you call your ears back home, call your eyes back home, call the nose and the tongue back home. So we're not right now seeking sound, we're not seeking sight, we're not seeking fragrance nor taste. And we let the skin of the body also come back home and rest. That the present moment is enough as it is, actually, which is always true. The present moment is enough as it is. In fact, it's quite more than enough if we really pay attention to it. So in yoga, we might call that attitude, that recognition that the present moment is enough. We could call that Santosha, means contentment. We could also say that the present moment is enough. It's already whole, it's already radiant, it's already kind of shimmering in terms of consciousness is not diminished by weather patterns, neither in our minds nor in nature. And that already shimmering thing, we say, Tada drastu svarupe vastanam. We are already resting in our innate nature. Now, of course, you might be a little bit disconnected from that indwelling nature if the mind has been busy or your body has been distracted or you've had the rush of the biochemistry of stress. So our practice is to bring us back home. So please bring your hands together at your heart. And to support this homecoming, we will chant together. We'll use the Gayatri Mantra today. You may sing with me. Om Bhurbuva Suvah Tat Savitor Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimoi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayata Om Bhurbuva Suvah Tat Savitor Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimoi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayata Om Bhurbuva Suvah Tat Savitor Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimoi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayata Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha Hari Om. You may bow your head to your heart. Release your hands and please open your eyes. So I want to teach you first a pranayama practice that helps to balance Pitta. It's a cooling pranayama. And there's two ways to do it. One, we make the tongue into a little shape like an actual straw, like this. But not all tongues can do that. And it's genetic if you can't do it. It means that your particular version of this species evolved away from the capacity to do this. And I understand it's like 1 in 4 or 1 in 10 people. So if that is the case, then you do it like this, like you're actually using a straw to inhale. Or you can place the tip of the tongue behind the top 2 teeth and inhale through the mouth like a little air conditioner. And it does make a sound. The inhale will have a whispering sound like that. And then we'll sustain the inhale just for a few moments until the tongue is not cool. It gets cool when it's outside there. And you put it behind the top 2 teeth. When the coolness goes away, you exhale through the nose. So I'll teach it for the tongues that can curl. Those tongues that cannot can adapt, and then we'll see how it goes. Okay, so sitting up straight and tall, please. Make the tongue like an external straw, and let's inhale slowly. At the top of your inhale, you place the tongue behind the top 2 teeth. When it's no longer cool and the same temperature as the mouth, then exhale through both nostrils. And we're going to try this 3 times all together. Please do that once more. Last one. When you complete your exhale, then just sit quietly and notice any influence you can feel in your mind from this pranayama practice. And what we're going to do, you can acknowledge that by putting the hands together. We're going to transition to an active practice now. And then we'll try this pranayama. So I'll do a little bit of heating with you, and then we'll try the pranayama. We'll have a little bit of heating, then the pranayama, and we want to go towards a place of integration ultimately. So please come up to standing. And we can go to my other camera, Susie, thank you. Okay, I'd like you to take a wide stance on your mat, the length of one leg, like this. Reach back and interlace your fingers and roll your shoulders back, lift up through your chest and heart. So if you have been sitting, let's say working this morning or sitting and doing childcare or online school with your children, whatever it's been, I want you to press the hips forward, not past your toes, but make a little forward angle, lift up through your heart. So this is a back bend. Press your shoulders back so you can actually squeeze the shoulders, the head of the arm bone back to support a little back bend and lift up through your heart from the inside. And then toning the inner thighs, exhale, glide your hips back so they're vertically in line with your heels. And bring your torso forward like a waterfall. Keep the hands clasped so the arms go overhead. Relax the weight of your head, but keep your shoulder blades energized towards your spine and up away from your head, so that your neck feels long and free. Take a deep breath in through the nose and let the breath be expansive, especially in the first third of the torso and then into the back waist. And when you exhale, then loosen the clasp of your hands. Let the arms cascade down towards the floor, also like a waterfall. And then walk your hands forward so that the upper body looks like downward facing dog pose on the fingertips, and your lower body stays in Prasarita-Padottanasana. Okay, long, smooth inhale, please, through the nose. And a long, smooth exhale. Watch the tone you can make in the deep low belly from the inside, from your clear intentions. And then please shift your hands to your hips. Rise up to standing. And one more time, interlace your fingers. Change the interlace to be like you're holding the other hand. It's the awkward hand or the goofy hand. Roll your shoulders back, give them a good strong squeeze. It's okay to bend the elbows, especially if you are someone who hyperextends the elbows. Take the tailbone down and forward so the hips do come a little bit forward in line with your toes. Lift up through your heart. Stretch the front of the throat if you can, like raise your chin up. And then exhale, glide your hips back until they're vertical to your heels and bow forward. Take the arms overhead, fingers still interlaced. Squeeze your shoulder blades towards your spine and up towards your sacrum. Relax the weight of your head and your neck. And as you energize your legs, allow the inhale slow and steady through the nose to your deep low belly, and exhale slow and steady from the low belly out through the nose. And then release your arms so that they cascade down towards the floor. Walk both hands forward. You're kind of aerating the body here. When we stretch it out, it's like more space and more air around the body. And also inside, you feel the inhale might be a little bit more expansive. So take a deep breath into the back of your waist, please. Great, and then walk your hands to your hips. Rise up to standing. Turn your right foot directly out to the right. Turn the left heel slightly out. So your feet are set up to come into the leg version of Warrior Two. There you go. So Warrior Two is a heating pose, and it's really great for getting circulation to the legs if you've been sitting again, doing schooling, working, parenting, whatever it's been. Please bring your hands to your heart. And then inhale, sweep your arms wide. Let the body be spacious inside and out. Take your gaze out over your right fingertips. And when you exhale, concentrate on lifting the pubic bone up towards your belly button. So you have a very stable pelvis, hips, legs, and feet. And then with the upper body, on your inhale, bring your right forearm to your right thigh, left arm past your ear. On the exhale, sweep it back to Warrior Two. Synchronize that you arrive as the exhale completes. Inhale. So the pelvis is stable. It's the torso moving like water. Exhale, rise. Imagine that your arms in Warrior Two rest at the surface of the water in which you are standing beautifully. And then exhale, right arm. Left arm past your ear. And exhale, Warrior Two. Synchronize so your mind and body and breath are all working together. As you next exhale, rise up to warrior two, as if your arms again are resting on the surface of the water, and the water all around you can be clear and reflective. And then straighten your right leg, join your palms together, rotate your right toes in, left heels can go out, left toes can go directly out. And then inhale, sweep the arms wide, make the pose spacious. Exhale, bend your left knee. So the lower body will be energized, circulation returning down the legs, and yet the upper body, you want that to be spacious. Take your gaze out over your left fingertips. And keeping the pelvis stable, exhale, bring your left forearm to your left thigh, right arm past your ear. And then follow this up with the inhale. And then exhale, left arm down. And if the mind is like, wait a minute, that's backwards because the other side we did it different, then you can tell the mind there's no one right way. Especially important to let Pitta know that there's not just one right way. Here's the exhale, and then inhale, and make it like water. Exhale, once more, inhale, beautiful, and then exhale, join your hands, straighten your left leg, rotate your left foot in, and once more come down to Prasarita. Now, you've been practicing with me for some time, whether that was before COVID-19 or now. Most of you have the strength for this next sequence, and we did this on Saturday or Sunday over the weekend. So I'm going to ask you to turn your left foot slightly out, and then check and see you come down. It feels comfortable. Come back up to center. Turn the right toes slightly out. Check and see when you come down that that's comfortable. And then come up to center. Okay, and the practice goes like this. We're going to be splitting the arms so it becomes a cross crawl pattern. Let's inhale and exhale down to your left. So right arm forward, left arm back. Inhale up to center. Exhale down to the right. Inhale to center. Exhale left. Inhale center. Exhale right. Inhale center. Exhale left. Inhale center. And exhale right. Inhale center, place your fingers on the floor, make the feet parallel, and come down for Prasarita Padottanasana. So that quality of movement like water, yet bringing heat into the legs and circulation down all the way to the feet. We are balancing the Kapha and Pitta dosha. Please bring your hands up to your hips and rise up to standing. So Pitta is comprised of fire and water, not only fire. And Kapha is comprised of earth and water. So we want the water element to help communicate between these two doshas. Right, so now we're going to step towards Tori Namaskar. Please come to the front of your yoga mat. For those who are enjoying using the two blocks, I'm recommending it. I like it for the strength you have in the deep low belly here in Uttanasana. And I also prefer it for your step forward when you go from your downward dog to your lunge. Okay. So join your hands together, please. Good. Inhale, sweep the arms down, wide and up. And then exhale, keep the legs strong, but let the torso be like water, cascade down over your legs. Okay, inhale, glide forward through your heart. Okay, this afternoon we're going to step back with the right foot and plant the right heel to the floor, so the left knee is forward. And then inhale the arms to airplane pose. Notice the strength required here in airplane pose. Some focus, though the eyes do not need to burn a hole in the floor, they can be focused. Press into your left big toe, left outer heel, tone your left outer hip. And as you next inhale, then root down to rise up to Virabhadrasana 1. And now you can raise your gaze up between the fingers of your hands, or you can take it slightly forward on the ceiling or all the way forward if that's easier for your neck. But try to sense the dynamic earth and water quality of the legs. So press firmly back into your right heel. Energize your left outer hip, left outer heel, left big toe. And when you exhale, then come over again to the airplane pose and keep the torso really spacious. Don't rest on your left thigh, please. You can hover just above it. And then exhale and lightly touch the two blocks. Okay, pivot your right heel up from the floor and step forward. And then exhale, take your left foot back, plant your left heel to the floor. You might feel the left calf stretching back there. Tone your right outer hip and heel as you sweep the arms wide in airplane pose. Notice the effort required by the legs. So left hip, left heel, left big toe. Right big toe, right outer heel, right outer hip. And then root down to rise up with your inhale into Virabhadrasana 1. Lift your gaze without burning a hole in that which you're looking at. Pitta is known for having kind of a fierce gaze, so try to make your gaze loving. The eyes do not need to be on fire right now. And then when you exhale, make the arms wide, the torso spacious. Float over your torso as if you were resting, maybe you were snorkeling. You're at the water's surface and your snorkel gear is perfect. And then lightly touch the two blocks and please step backwards to downward facing dog pose. And in your downward dog pose, draw in a deep, smooth breath cycle through both nostrils. Exhale, roll forward to plank pose. Step over one foot and come to upward dog pose. Step over the other foot. And in upward facing dog, we're going to stay a little bit here. In upward dog pose, press the tops of your feet down and then snug them towards each other. So the inner thighs should feel toned. Energize your arms. Set your shoulders back. Lift the heart up. Yeah, I'm rocking in my upward dog pose because I can and because it's fun. Okay, and then touch the knees down. And as you exhale, press into your arms, roll your hips back, take one block for the head, place the arms in Sphinx pose. And watch the heat factor of the body. Watch the heat dissipate. You might notice your heart rate. Your body temperature. Then deeply relax your eyes. Walk yourself back to sit in Zazen. When you come to Zazen, give yourself a comfortable upright seat. You might notice that some regions of your body still feel that heat and other parts of the body have settled the heat. So notice what's present for you. And then make the straw of the tongue. We'll do 3 breath cycles. We're going to check and see how does this create an internal cooling sense for the mind or for the body, and for the Pitta dosha especially. So you make the tongue into a straw, and then let's inhale. And pull the tongue inside behind the top 2 teeth. When the temperature of the tongue is normal again, same as the temperature of the mouth, then exhale through both nostrils. And please try that twice more. It's very common that you feel like the inhale lasts a lot longer because you've changed the opening for the breath to come in. Please do one more, last one. And when you complete that last one and you're just resting in the echo of the pranayama, just notice any shift for the mind, like the fiery qualities of the mind. Maybe they become more shimmering and less forceful. It's also possible that your temperature comes back to homeostasis. We're going to have one more short standing sequence. I'm going to ask you to come up to standing, and I'll show you as a profile for this one. And you, of course, can always adapt if your hamstrings are not luxuriously long, because that's your genetics, then you might have the front knee bent in this sequence, whereas for others, they might have the front leg straight. So you're going to put your right foot forward, left foot back. I'll be your profile view. It's a little shorter stride, not the same distance you would use for warrior one or for a crescent lunge, that's longer. This is a tiny bit shorter. Okay, and I'd like you to reach back and interlace your fingers. Squeeze your shoulders back. Root the tailbone down. And while thinking of the inner journey, not so much the outer destination, but the inner journey, start sliding your knuckles down the back of your leg as you lift upwards through your heart. Roll the shoulders back again, widen your collarbones. And then also raise your gaze. So this is a standing back bend, and ideally you have some opening at the front of your left hip flexors. Tone the left butt for stability, please. And then as you inhale, raise your heart, begin the journey about halfway forward. And then the exhale, you get to complete bowing all the way down. And those of you who would like to, of course, you can bend the front knee to accommodate your hamstrings. Gaze towards your left heel, please. This is a balance pose because we don't have the hands on the floor. So Pitta should have focus like a gentle candle flame that's not distracted. Pitta does not need to be focused like a brush fire. Begin to glide forward. Press into both heels. Root your tailbone. Once the tailbone goes down and you're starting to be vertical, lift the pubic bone. Go upwards through the heart. Roll your shoulders back. Lift your gaze. And then once more with the inhale, pour yourself forward, first about halfway forward. And then exhale to complete that. Gaze down towards your left heel. And then energize both legs. Press firmly into both feet. Roll yourself up. Now release the clasp of the hands and just turn to be centered. And watch the temperature changing down your arms. You might get initially like a yoga hot flash, but then the heat dissipates. It knows how to do that. Let's go to the other side. So turn your left foot directly to face forward. Pivot your right heel so it's firmly planted. Reach back and change the interlace of your fingers so you have the feeling that it's somebody else's hand that you're holding on to. You root your tailbone. Lift the pubic bone. And as you roll up through your chest and heart, think of like a water wheel in the upper back. And this water wheel sends the water up the front of the heart and down the back of the shoulder blades. You can lift the chin to stretch the throat a little bit. Pitta governs the throat, which is very fascinating to me in how we use our voices and what we do with food, what we say, what we don't say. You know, keeping the legs steady, begin the process of pouring yourself forward. There's your inhale. And then the exhale to complete that action. So you come down slowly, like a deep quality of patience. Gaze back towards your right heel. This is a balance pose. The fire of Pitta here, I want you to practice it like a candle flame that is confident and steady, not like a brush fire. And press down into both legs. Begin the process of rolling up. And you're going to keep the legs again steady. Lift your pubic bone, root your tailbone. As you're rising up through your heart, open your chest and your throat. And keeping your eyes like loving but focused. Tone your right hip, your right butt. And once more, we're going to inhale and come halfway forward. And then exhale to complete. As you roll down, gaze back towards your right heel. And then this time what we're going to do is release the arms so that they come down to the floor and turn to Prasarita, With the arms dangling, you might notice a little bit less the heat factor. So put your mind in the subtle body and watch the heat that may be dissipating, let's say from your hips, from your mid to lower back. And then walk it forward to downward dog pose. And roll this forward and down. Please reach for your block and come into Vajrasana. Rest your palms face down in your lap. Notice the temperature of your body, but also the temperature of your mind. So like your breathing and your heart rate to settle, so you feel like you're at homeostasis or home base. Now placing the tongue again like the shape of the straw or the variation that you're doing. We'll do 3 times. This is called Sitali, the cooling pranayama. You may begin. Now the last one. When you complete the last of the 3 Sitalis, then rest again in the echo of your practice and your efforts. Imagine the mind like a candle flame, noticing its temperature, the quality of its focus. Okay, now we're going to do something a little bit unusual. We haven't done this before in the online class. You do need a yoga block, and we're going to be using the long side of the block. So this long, narrow side here, and it's going to be under the upper back and the head. And this edge of the block here, where my, let's say my left hand, because I've called this my left side today, this is where the occipital ridge is going to be, and the block will be on a slight angle like that. And so the second edge of the block is whatever this distance is on your body. But I want us to get the occipital ridge right here for a few moments. So let me show this to you. When I lie down on the block, you have to guess when you're lying back where you're going to end up. So if I lie back and I say, okay, And to pick up the hips, I want the occipital ridge to be at the back edge of the block. Let me check that this is not in your way for your view. So what I have is, yes, my occiput is on this edge of the block right here. And then I pick up the block with my fingers so that I got to put my hips down. And I also kept the occipital ridge right there at the edge of the block. Then the arms go out. And we're actually going to rest in this position, so you can join me. I know it's a little bit unusual. So what I'd like is to have this sense that your neck is getting some traction from this place where you're on the occipital ridge, and that when you've got it diagonally, your hips are able to come to the floor comfortably. You've got this little angle on your block. And then take the arms out away from the torso so your body is aerated, quote unquote aerated. And you can decide if you'd like to stretch the legs out straight, like a river going downstream. That's also cooling to Pitta. So what you have here is this possibility of a little reset at the occipital ridge, which is a reset at the craniosacral rhythm in your body. Let the eyes relax back in their sockets. Invite the energy of the digestive system from the mouth to go down, flowing down through the esophagus. Pitta governs your digestion, so imagine this downward flow so that angst and worry and fear are not rising up. Digestion is going down. And then from the stomach into the abdomen, this region of the abdomen, there's a quieting sort of downstream flow. And that downward energy will continue to go through the pelvis and down through your legs beyond your heels. And just a few more moments to let this little reset happen for the craniosacral rhythm by the pressure we have at the occipital ridge. Invite your body to deeply relax. You're giving yourself good and important medicine right now. And reach around and place your fingers at the back edge of the block so you know that you lifted it from the floor and there's a space between the block and the floor. So bend your knees, lift your hips, and take the block back down to the floor. And then place your hands palms face down under your pelvis and press down to rise up to sitting. Take this block, set it aside, and come down to Shavasana. What you might notice is that there's going to be a spot right at the base of the skull that gets a little bit warmer. At first it will get warmer, and then you can imagine the tension that you carry at the occipital ridge melting away. So close your eyes and let the eyes retreat back into a place of quiet behind the thought factory of the mind. And place your mind at the base of your skull, visualizing the release of deeply held tension, even if you weren't aware that it was there. Welcome the back of the throat to be very relaxed, spacious. From the upper palate, down the back of your throat, and even down behind the sternoclavicular notch. Imagine again the occipital ridge and the throat. They become really deeply relaxed, resolving even the habit of long-held tension. And stay there at the base of the skull, just sensing your body resolving tension. The interior of the throat, the upper palate, the back of the throat, down behind the sternoclavicular notch. Let this whole region release any unnecessary tension. And allow that release to flow outwards, now to all four limbs, both arms, both legs. Allow the tension to dissolve in any place in your body where you have the habit of holding tension. And from the occipital ridge into the throat, we send a message to all the regions of the body. Allow this process to continue without distraction. The hands and feet can become deeply heavy with relaxation. We are going to rest another minute or so. We'll let that go yet again more deeply. You're giving your body a whole system reset right now. Allow the occipital ridge to release for the upper palate, the back of your throat, behind the sternoclavicular notch. As that becomes deeply easeful, let the message stretch out through both arms and both legs. Now keeping your awareness sort of cool and steady, just allow a slightly deeper breath in, low belly. Bring some movement gently to your fingers and your toes. And bend one knee at a time. Roll to your right side. And rise up and take a blanket to sit on. Or whatever your meditation seat is, your preferred seat. And rest your hands out over your knees. And listen for the inner state of what is happening. Now placing the tongue like a straw, we'll do 2 breath cycles. First, we'll exhale left nostril. Second, we'll exhale right nostril. But we'll inhale through the straw. Let's begin. Closing the right nostril when your tongue is the regular temperature again, then exhale left side only. Inhale Sitali. Bring the right hand up and exhale right nostril only. And release your right hand to your lap and Let yourself reflect a few moments more. What is the quality of the mind? And please bring your hands to your heart. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you very much, everyone. Namaste.